Hi everyone and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm broadcasting to you from Central Europe. Okay, so today in this members chat class, we're looking at IELTS speaking part 2, the cue card, which is the long answer response in the speaking section. And as usual, our materials are coming from our websites. For academic English help, it's coming from aehelp.com. That's for academic IELTS. And for general IELTS help, check us out at gieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we have tons of great material for you, including 6 full exams, over 100 hours of video lessons, and a fully interactive course. Hi Harminder. Hi Francesco. Good to see some of our members coming in. Hi Kesey on these extra classes. Hi Ava. Good to see you. All right. So just a really quick glance at the website so you know what I'm talking about. This is our general IELTS help.com website here. You can click that big red button to join. Then you get a My Student account. This is our academic IELTS help website. You click that red button, then you get a My Student account. Once you have that, then you have lots and lots of goodies in there in all these tabs here, and you even get an interactive tour. So make sure to check us out on these websites when you have a chance. Okay, members. Remember, members, you have 3 classes now for members only chat. Today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow on Saturday. If you have questions, don't be shy. Send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. I see, Francesco, you have a question already, which is fantastic. I'll answer that in just one moment. And again, the schedule now is 13:30 to 14:30 Central European Time. It's members chat, today speaking part 2. Then after this class from 15 to 16 o'clock, it's an everyone can chat reading strategy. And then same tomorrow, so 2 classes starting with the members chat and then everyone chat listening strategy. Hi Priyanka, hi Amardeep. And then again on Saturday, same idea. We have a members chat. Members, you have lots of classes now. You have 3 classes each week. So don't be shy. Send some requests, okay? I've gotten a few, but the more the merrier. So send me requests so I can schedule those for the class. Okay, Francesco, let's have a look at your question, then we'll get into part 2. So your question is about writing task 2. If the question is, do you agree or disagree? Can you analyze both points of view? No, it's not a good idea, Francesco, because of the word or. So the question says, do you agree or disagree? You should just either agree or disagree, not both. And you should have 2 reasons for either disagreeing or 2 reasons for agreeing, and then those each become your body paragraphs, okay? The question that you're thinking about, Francesco, is where it says discuss both views, okay? So students, there's sometimes task 2 questions that say discuss both views and give your own opinion. For that question, or for those types of questions, you can, or you have to, discuss both sides. But if it's do you agree or disagree, then choose one or the other, not both. Hope that makes sense, Francesco. Okay. Yes, Amardeep, I'll definitely check your email. Don't worry, I try to get to emails within 24 hours, but no more than 48 hours. So, okay, so let's get to speaking part 2. Speaking part 2 is often the more challenging part of speaking for IELTS students. And that's absolutely normal, okay? So that's absolutely common that students find the cue card especially challenging. Anybody know why that is? So why is part 2 in the IELTS speaking interview so challenging for many students. Why is that? Anybody have an idea? Can you tell me that? While you're thinking about that and answering that question, remember that for part 2 especially, but all of speaking, you have to sound natural, okay? And by natural, I don't necessarily mean pronunciation and intonation, but more importantly, you have to sound like you didn't just memorize some sets of answers that you use for these part 2 cue cards, okay? The examiners are very, very careful not to give a high mark if they think that you are giving them a memorized response to part 2, okay? They will actually drop your score. And that's because they can't give you a high score if they feel that that's not your true English, okay? So, all right. So Francesco says, well, because you have to talk for 2 minutes or speak for 2 minutes, either one is okay. Francesco, talk or speak. Yeah, so part 2 is difficult for students in the speaking because it's unnatural, okay? Most humans, most of us in our daily life, we don't give 2-minute speeches on different ideas. So we're not used to organizing information for that duration of time, for a 2-minute time span, okay? We're just simply not used to doing that. And that's why it's more difficult, even for native English speakers, just suddenly giving a 2-minute talk on a random topic is very challenging. So even if you have high English skills, high-level speaking skills in English, you have to practice for part 2 because it's not something that you do in your daily life, even in your own language. Okay, so it's very important. All right. So yes, Francesco, you're on the right path. All right, let's warm up with a few questions, members. So just a little bit of warm up, and then we'll get to our part 2, which is here. This is just to get your English speaking muscles going. You probably remember this from yesterday. Please repeat after me. Repetition is extremely useful for improving your communication and English skills. So make sure to repeat, repeat, repeat as much as possible. All right, so you're in the examination room and you're relaxed, you're calm, you're finding your zen, your peaceful, happy place. And the examiner will ask you for your identification, your passport, and then they will say, what is your full name? I always start off with this question, and I really hope students, members, you're not just writing this down, but or into the chat, but you're actually saying it. So say it. Use your voice. Say it. So what is your full name? Give me a nice answer, students. Always practice this and practice different ways. Again, practice different ways to answer this question. Don't just be robotic, okay? I really want you to avoid sounding robotic or sounding like you've memorized what you're saying. So what is your full name? Give me a nice answer for that one. Okay, I kind of threw up the most simple and effective response for this question. My full name is John Smith. Please just call me John. Here's a little something to make it more fancy or more robust. My full name is John Smith, as you will see in my passport. Please just call me John. Okay, that break is important where the comma is. Francesco says, my given name is Francesco and my family name is Brunetti. Please call me Francesco. Okay, good. Francesco, I hope that you're able to say that as fast as I'm reading or saying it myself. So again, my given name is Francesco. My family name is Brunetti. Please call me Francesco. Good. Rekha, good to see you in class. Rekha says, my given name is Rekha and my last name is Rawat. Please call me by my nickname, Rekhu. Pet name is kind of weird, too colloquial, a little bit strange. I wouldn't do that one, Rekha. At least I'm not familiar with that, so my nickname, Rekhu. Harminder Dinja says, my full name is Harminder Dinja. Please call me Harminder. Good. Kisi, my full name is Kisi Zhang. You can call me Kisi. That works. Amardeep says, my given name is Amardeep Singh. Please refer to me by my nickname as Amar. Very good. Okay, Amardeep, good. Works. I'll call you Amar from now on. That's great. Again, here's another way. So I'm always trying to be a little bit creative as well and show you some different ways so that you can sound original, sound unique. And that's what we're really going to emphasize in today's class, members, is sounding original. Excuse me. That was a big sneeze. Some people believe that if you sneeze after you say something, it means you're telling the truth. So let that be heard. Sounding original and sounding natural is very important for high IELTS band scores. How do you sound original for part 2, students? By the way, thank you, Francesco. How do you sound original? So this is a good question. How do I sound original for speaking part 2? What do you think is important to consider? How can you convince the examiner that you didn't just memorize the answer, but you're actually coming up with some original ideas for that cue card? Ava, oh, thank you, Ava. I see you said bless you as well. Don't be shy, Ava. Type in your responses as well. So type in your full name and so on and so forth. So everybody participate as much as possible. By the way, in English, we do use Gesundheit, which is the German for bless you. In English, we do say Gesundheit quite often, especially in Canada. I'm not sure in other English-speaking countries, but I think in the US and the UK they use Gesundheit as well, which is the German version of bless you. So again, sounding original and natural is very important for high IELTS band scores. How do you do this? There's one very important way. Okay, so yeah, just Ava, just remember the pronunciation is not very Germanic. It's much more English. We just simply say Gesundheit. I'm sure in German it's a much stronger sounding word. And I see, Rekha, you've just taken the acronym. God bless you. Very good. Thank you. All right. So how do I sound original for part 2? What do you think is the most important? Okay. Okay, so Francesco says, well, giving personal examples and including some natural fillers, which indicate that you're actually thinking about the answer and you're not just regurgitating the answer. Absolutely, yeah, that's an interesting point, Francesco. So many students think or feel that using natural fillers like and are bad. But in fact, in some ways, they're very, very good. One of them is, of course, you buy a little bit of time to think about what you're saying. And the second reason, Francesco, and I haven't identified this as you just did, which is to sound more natural, like you're not actually saying a memorized response. Because when we're spontaneously, genuinely answering questions or giving ideas, we tend to use natural fillers to help us think. We don't have that information memorized, okay? Amardeep says, look the examiner in the eyes while speaking. Amardeep, that is a good tip as well. When we memorize information, we do what's called a mind search or a brain scan, and we actually look inside of our brains, or look down at the paper. So yes, looking more at the examiner, making more eye contact does also give a feeling of originality. So those are some good answers. Anything else? So any other ways to sound natural and original. So I'll make notes of what you've just said. So look at the examiners, make eye contact. Use natural fillers like well, to show that you are thinking about the answer. Absolutely. And the most important, students, is to answer the question very specifically, okay? So don't just give roundabout answers that can be used for a variety of topics, but answer the question very specifically. This means choose your topic response carefully from a selection of 3 or 4 possibilities. We're going to do that right now so you see what I'm talking about, so that's not confusing for you, okay? So let's take a look at the part 2 question. We'll skip those other icebreaker questions. So let's have a look at the part 2 questions. The part 2 question, and I introduced this to you yesterday, so hopefully some of you thought about it. Part 2 question is, talk about a time when you had to do a big cleaning, okay, or a big cleanup. So talk about a time when you had to do a big cleaning. So this is what type of category are we discussing here? And then you should say when it was. So when was it? What did you have to clean up? What did you use to clean? How did you feel about it? Would you do it again in the future? So those are the questions on the card. And now we have to think about a good answer that ensures we sound original. Rekha, don't worry about those other icebreaker questions for now. We're going to go right into part 2 here. So first of all, what type of information is this? So talk about a time when you had to do a big cleanup. Remember, on the IELTS, basically part 2 will be a place, a person, an object, or as Kisi correctly identified, it will be an event. And this is an event. Absolutely, Kisi. Good for you for identifying that. So your first step, members, is always to identify whether you're required to talk about a person, place, object, event, sometimes an idea. Okay? So this is an event. So when I'm talking about an event, Kisi, and I know some other of our members know as well, when we're talking about an event, what do we have to pay attention to? So what elements, what parts do we need to include for clear communication? So what should I include? If I want to talk about a birthday, or in this case, a time when I had to do a big cleanup, what should I make sure to include to have good structure, to have completeness? Okay, time, exactly. So specific time. Right? So specific time. That's right, Rekha. Very good. Location, where it took place. Okay. Okay, why it happened. So the purpose. Sure. What else? Yeah, that's right, Kisi. Who? So who went there? Sure. Okay, so let's see. So I have specific time, when it happened, Francesco, that's right. So the location, where it happened, the purpose. So why did it happen? Who was there? Any other information? One that you should always consider is what people did. And finally, Okay, so attendees is the who, Rekha, so that's good. Yeah, attendees, very good. And then finally as well, your opinion. So especially if you were a part of that event, like in this case, then your opinion about the event, so how you felt. Okay, so your opinion or your feeling of the event. So as long as you include all of this information, you will do great. Okay, you will get a good band score. And the key is to be specific. Okay, the way you make it sound original is to be specific. So you want to be as specific as possible. Now, our step one is to realize that we're talking about an event, to remember that these elements need to be included in our response. And our step two, so let me segregate this for you. Again, students, remember, even when I'm just talking for these instructional parts, repeat me as much as possible. Okay, so step two is to think of top level choices. Okay, so again, you're going to sound natural, but you're an original, but you don't really want to sound overly unique because that can get you into trouble. That can get you into a situation of difficult speaking or difficult communication. So you want to think of some top level choices for the question. So talk about a time when you had to do a big cleaning. Okay, so what do you think, members, what would be some of the most common situations when people do big cleaning? Okay, so tell me about this. What would be the answer that 9 out of 10 people would answer? Okay, so when there's a big celebration nearing, Amardeep, I'm guessing in India, the Diwali festival is a big celebration. So when that is approaching, then you do a big cleaning. Francesco says before Christmas, so before a major event, yeah, or the celebration of New Year, okay? So before some major gathering. Okay, so before a major celebration like Christmas, New Year's, Diwali, we do a major cleanup. Okay, what would be another time? Okay, so that's one. All right. What could be another situation where you might have to, yeah, very good, Amardeep, when you're moving, right? So when you sell or move out of your rental flat. Absolutely. Aigul, good to see you in class as well. Yeah, perfect. Very good, students. Clever. All right. You're visualizing. I love it. So okay, yeah. So when moving from a house or an apartment after a sale or rental, right? Francesco says, when you have to show your house to your new boyfriend or girlfriend. Very clever, Francesco. I love it. Okay, that's again some great visualization. So when you have special guests arriving, new boyfriend, girlfriend. Sure, yeah, you don't want to look like a slob. It's probably not going to be all that great. Fantastic. Okay, so that's great. Okay, so now you have some top-level choices, and you have three. Okay, so we've identified three. So major event like Christmas or New Year's, Spring cleaning is kind of a tradition in Canada, US, by the way. So we even say to do a spring cleaning before summer. When moving from a house or an apartment, it's very common that people have to do a big cleaning. Otherwise, they have to pay for the cleaning in many cases. In Canada, by the way, if you have a rental place and you don't clean it, then by law, the landlord is allowed to take from your deposit for cleaning fees to have people come out and clean your flat. Okay, and then of course, if you have somebody special arriving that you want to impress and you want them to feel like you are an organized person. So that could be the situation as well. And yes, there are others. So perhaps something to do with work as well, Amardeep. It's possible. Okay, so ladies and gents, let's choose one. Let's choose this second one, when moving from a house or apartment. Okay, so now we have this one here. Let me just underline it. Okay, so when moving from a house or an apartment after sale, we'll do that one together. Now that we've picked the one that we think, there's a reason why I picked this one, by the way. The reason I picked this one is because you can sound original and unique. Okay. This one I didn't choose because it can be a little bit trickier to answer this one well. There are many different kinds of celebrations, and you can get into a little bit of a trickier situation to explain that clearly. This one could be good also, but I'm thinking that this one here is the easiest where I can sound original and get a nice high band score. And of course, I'm keeping in mind that in the IELTS exam, my goal is always to choose the easiest path to a high band score. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Again, Rekha, remember, it doesn't have to be unique. It just has to be original. Unique and original are not the same concept, okay? Unique means something that's rare, and that can be very difficult to discuss. Original just means it doesn't sound memorized, and it sounds like it actually happened to you, and you didn't just come up with a set of responses before the exam, okay? All right, so now, specific time, location, purpose, who, what people did, your opinion, your feeling about it. We're focusing on this when moving from a house or a rental apartment. So let's take a minute to create some notes. So in your notes, okay, this is of course in your 1 minute time. So you're not going to write down the word time, but what would be a good note to do for time? So specific time. Okay, what would be a good note to make here? So if I'm writing down some notes real quickly in my 1 minute, okay, again, this is happening very fast, students. When you practice this at home, this is all happening within that 1 minute preparation time. So you read the card, you think about, okay, it's an event. I need to talk about specific time, people, place, what happened, my feeling about it. And I need to pick 3 ideas. Okay, when does this cleaning happen? Before major celebrations. Well, if I move or sell a house. And if I have a special guest coming. Okay, so Amardeep says last year, September. Now, Amardeep, in your notes, that's too much. Okay, so in your notes, you just need to do and be very specific. Usually people move at the end of a month. Okay, so September 31st, I think September has 30 days, 31 days. So September 31st. Okay, sure. Okay, where? So location. Yeah, exactly. So now, Kisi, you're jumping ahead. You're thinking about the follow-up questions. We'll get to that in a minute. So I'm going to show you that in a minute, how to expand. But you're on the right track, Kisi. I'm going to come back to what you just stated there. Okay. So I'm going to come back to what you just stated there. And again, students, I know it seems like this takes a long time, but you can do this very quickly. Okay. So far, all I wrote in my notes is 2018, September 31st. Right. Okay. So Francesco, good. So you're getting the idea here. You want to be specific. So downtown London. Number 36. Which one's number sign? Anyway, number 36. King's Cross Station. Okay. Amardeep, again, these are just your notes, so keep it short. Okay, keep it really, really short. So all I need in my notes here is September 31st, downtown London. I would actually use the number sign for this, 36, King Cross Station. Sure. Okay. Purpose. So why did you clean it? Why did you clean your place? What was your purpose for it? Okay. Again, so we're just going, okay, Ava, so you're moving out, but try to be a little bit more specific, Ava. So that's good. Moving out is okay. That's going to come in your first sentence, but be more specific. So move out, yes, but more specifically, why did you do it? Why did you clean it? Take it one step further. Amardeep, same thing. Take it one step further. So you're moving out. What do you want to do? Why would you clean your house when you move out? Why not just, why waste that time? Why not just leave it as is? Yeah, there you go. Francesco says, so to get my deposit back, right? If you're renting, you do it to get back your deposit. If you're selling, you would do it to get maximum price. Okay. So if you're selling your house, then you do it to get top dollar for your house. If you're moving out and you're renting, then you would do it to get your deposit back. Absolutely. Amardeep, to fulfill the rental agreement. Okay, not the terms and conditions of the owner is okay as well, but rental agreement. Okay. Sure. All right. So we have that. Who did it? So who is doing this? Okay. So who's doing the cleaning? Just keep going. Again, so I'm showing you how I would do my notes in the 1 minute preparation time. Of course, I don't have these written down. I'm just remembering these because this is what I practice at home before I sit the IELTS. So I know that it's an event, so I have to have notes on time, location, purpose, who I'm doing it with. Francesco says, I did it myself all by my lonesome. Francesco, hats off to you. Try to be a little bit more creative, though. It allows you to stretch. Yeah, so Rekha says, me and my spouse. So yeah, me and my family or me and a friend. Okay, yeah. Me and my best friend did it. Sure. It's just because you can stretch it. You can stretch what you're saying. So when you get to this part, you can say, I cleaned my flat with me and my best friend George. The reason for having him help me is that I also cleaned his flat 6 months prior when he was moving out. And then you can go into he helped me a lot to save time and money. So yeah, it lets you expand on your answer. Absolutely. So we have time, location, we have the person, who, what people did. Okay. So this is a big one. What did people do? So what did people do? Okay, so again, just some simple, quick notes. So what do you clean when you're cleaning a house or an apartment after you're moving out? So what are you actually doing? Clearly, you do a lot of, the standard types of cleanings like vacuuming, but there's some extra or more deep cleaning type of activities as well. What are those? So what are the deep cleaning activities when you are moving from a flat or a house? What should you do? What do you think is on that checklist of making sure that it's clean? Okay. Can you tell me that? So what happened? Wow, Ava, you can rent from me anytime you want. You're going to do repainting. Yeah, I guess that's a European thing, Ava. I've heard that, and I know in Hungary, where I'm at right now, they expect a repainting after a year of residency as well. It's weird. In Canada and the US, we don't necessarily require repainting after moving, but yeah, I think in Europe that's a little bit different. So sure, repainting could be one. In the US or Canada, we just wash the walls. I think that's one of the big differences. The walls in the US and in Canada, you can just wash the paint. But I find it strange how here, because there's different types of walls, you can't really just wash the wall. It's an interesting difference between Europe and North America. So anyway, yeah, always learning. So Rekha says vacuum the floor, dust the walls, and mop. Yeah, absolutely. So vacuum, wash floors. So vacuum, carpet clean, right? It's a big one if there's carpets. Wash floor. Okay. Sure. Anything else? So this is where you really want to visualize, and you only have 1 minute to prepare your notes, so you probably won't have time to write it all down, but you want to think about as many as possible here. Okay? One I know that people have to do at that time is clean the oven, right? Scrub clean the oven. What else do you have to clean when you move that you don't necessarily have to do otherwise? Kisi says, wash walls. I guess in China it's a little bit different as well. In the US or Canada, Kisi, we literally can wash the paint. So I guess it's the type of paint that we use. But you have a bucket with just some warm water and soap and a sponge, and you literally wash the walls. Because the walls, usually at about head height, human head height, we touch them while we are in a house, and over the course of a couple years, all that touching, the grease and dirt from our hands does collect on the wall. And in Canada, you can actually wash that off the wall with just some soap and warm water. So, okay. Yeah, so deep clean of the bathroom. So scrub. Yeah, scrub the toilet, bathtub, shower. Exactly, okay. Maybe clean light fixtures. So if the light fixtures, the chandeliers, light fixtures are basically what contain the light bulbs. If they're dirty and dusty, you have to remove them and clean them, okay? All right. Okay, so we're doing okay. Don't forget, this last one is really, really good to include when you're talking about an event. Your opinion, your feeling about it. So how did you feel about this? How do you feel about this? Students, how do you feel about this big cleaning? What's your feeling? Yeah, very good one, Ava. That's one we forgot, but cleaning the windows, absolutely. Yeah, cleaning the windows. I'll add that in. Sure. Okay. Yeah, nothing worse than moving into a place and finding that your windows are all smudgy and clean. You're exhausted. Yeah, it's tiring. Very good. Exhausted. probably didn't like it. Most people don't like to do these intense cleanings. Okay, I'm just going to move it along a little bit here. So you're exhausted. You probably didn't like it. But when you're done, it always feels good to look at a place when it looks really clean, especially if you get your deposit back, then you're feeling super fantastic, right? Okay, so now you need one more step. Step 3, which is to create your first sentence. So have your first sentence ready to go, ready to roll as soon as the examiner says, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. Kesey says, I would like to hire a cleaner to do it if I had enough money. Sure, Kesey, that's a good way to look at it as well. Of course, we do it to save money. So step 3 is have your first sentence ready to go. And this goes back to sounding original, students. A really bad approach is to use memorized phrases like, thank you for this opportunity to let me speak about a time when I did a big cleaning. In fact, I do a lot of big cleanups throughout the year. So that's really bad, okay, because it's not original. So if you say, okay, so a lot of students use this type of template when they respond to the Part 2 cue card. They say, thank you for the chance, or thank you for the opportunity to let me speak about a time when I did a big cleaning. I have done several big cleanups in the past, and the one that I remember most is, okay, this is not original, students. This is not an original way to begin your speaking. You just did two terrible things. One is you made it clear for the examiner that you're using a template and you're not sounding original. They're thinking that maybe the rest of it are memorized pieces that you're putting together also. And you just wasted your first 15 seconds, okay? So yes, Amardeep, this is basically a copy-paste of your brain. And examiners do not give high IELTS band scores for copy-paste responses, okay? They just simply don't, okay? So that's not original. So you need an original, okay? So let's sound original. Instead of this type of approach, how can we sound original? So give me an original way to begin this response using our notes. Okay, so give me an original response using the notes from this 1 minute time. I'm sure you can do it. So Rekha, again, what you're doing there, today I'd like to talk about a period when I did cleaning for the whole day. It's a template, it's not original. So again, Rekha, that's a copy paste. You cannot start like that. I know that in India, there are way too many IELTS courses and teachers who are giving these kind of template, copy paste responses, but it's very difficult to get a high IELTS band score with that, especially if you're trying to get like a band 7 or more, okay? A lot of IELTS examiners these days will not give you more than a 6 when you do that, Rekha, so you have to be very careful. Okay, Francesco, a little bit better, but you can be even more direct than that. So, well, while I was reading the question, I recalled that last year when I had to do a big cleanup was when I moved from my flat in London. Okay, so Francesco, that's better. You're closer, but even yours in the beginning is still sounding like you're going into a bit of a template while I was reading the question. I leave that out. So I'd start with the last time. So Francesco, I would start your answer to sound original with the last time I did a big cleanup was last year when I vacated my flat in London. That would sound original. Okay? So an original one while you're typing away would be okay. That sentence will tell the examiner that, thank you. Here's a student who read the card, planned their answer, and they're using original ideas, not a template, to give me their response. So the last time I remember having to do a major cleanup is when I vacated my flat in London on September 31st. Okay? Last year. I think I missed that there. Okay, so that would sound original. Rekha says, on 31st of September 2018, I had done a whole day of cleaning that I've never had to do before. Rekha, okay, couple of corrections, but you're sounding original, and that's much better, okay? Even if you are making a couple of mistakes, that's fine, because you're still going to get a better score for sounding original than if you're not making mistakes, but it sounds like you're just memorizing the answer. Okay? Ava says, well, I definitely remember a really big cleaning day when me and my husband were moving out from our one-bedroom flat apartment last September. Ava, very good. That's exactly it. Okay? So now you have the right frame of thought. So now I know as the examiner that you're original, you're giving me an original answer for this question, and I feel comfortable to give you a band 7, 7, 5, 8, as long as, of course, you use fairly good English with a good structured response. Fantastic. So Kisi says in 2018, September 31st, before the national holiday of China, I did a big cleaning because I decided to move to a new apartment. Kisi, fantastic. So you're picking up what I'm putting down. You're understanding what I'm telling you. That's how you sound original. So that's your first sentence. And then you continue. So it was a fairly big cleanup job. It was a fairly big job, which took most of 2 days between my husband and I in order to get our 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment looking like new. Okay, good. So now, leading from this sentence, you can start using your notes and you can start going into more details. That is fantastic. Okay, so now the challenge, of course, is just to make sure that we use our notes. So very important, students, when you take notes like this, make sure to use it. Okay, so next set of information, we're talking about getting our damage deposit back using quantitative information. It was 500 pounds. So include good detail. Then talk about dividing and conquering. So what you did, what your husband or your boyfriend did. Then talk about how you felt about it. And what should you do? So just imagine, students, that we've answered and we've included these elements. Continuing on from here. So this is our original response, and we're continuing on here, and we're including all of this information. What should I do once I've included this piece here as well? I say that after we were done on the evening of the 31st, I remember feeling absolutely exhausted. I didn't really enjoy those 2 days, but being done, I felt great, especially when we got back that 500 pounds deposit, and we were able to use that for our next rental. So what should I do when I get to the end of my notes and I've included this, all of this information? What should I do after that? Members, what's super important? And you're maybe talking for like 90 seconds at this point, 70, 80, 90 seconds. So after these 70, 80, 90 seconds, what do I need to do? It's a really important step. Okay, this is before the examiner says, okay, your 2 minutes is up, and now we will move on to part 3. So what do I need to do? So I've looked at my notes. I've used my notes. Thank you, Kesey. Very good. So Kesey says, look at the question. Okay, make sure you didn't miss anything. So step 4, after you're finished, okay, so after you finish with the main elements, make sure to look at the questions on the card. If you miss any of those questions, your mark will go down. Okay, so you see, where's that card? Okay. So how did you feel about it? Look at that. Okay, so when was it? What did you have to clean up? What did you use to clean it? So what did you use to clean it? Okay, we have to be careful. Make sure that we remember to include, I used a vacuum cleaner, I used some chemicals, a mop, sponge, bucket, warm water. So make sure to include that information. And how did you feel about it? Okay, we included that. Don't forget this one here. Would you do it again in the future? Okay, so that's what you would definitely want to include. So you would make sure that you look at the card, and after you look at the card, you realize that, okay, there's a couple of key pieces of information that I don't have yet. So you make sure to include that in your answer. So you should then say something like, I don't really look forward to doing this again in the future, but I have a feeling that I will be doing it at some point once my husband and I buy our own home and have to move again. Okay, so some kind of sentence like that to make sure that you have task completion. Okay, members, any questions about part 2 or about what we did today and about making sure to sound original? So do you have any questions about this? Now's your chance to ask me. I'm going to try to give a little bit more opportunity, members, in these classes for you to ask me questions about these sections of IELTS and these parts of IELTS. So do you have any questions about what we did here and about this? Is it a positive or a negative to smile, Francesco? That's a good question. So the expression on your face. Yeah, okay. So Francesco, smiling also helps you to feel relaxed. So it is a positive to smile. Just try not to chuckle anxiously or nervously, okay? But smiling and feeling confident is good, okay? Eye contact and positive thinking, positive attitude is good. Absolutely. Yeah, Rekha, just fire away. Ask me a question. Yeah, this is your chance, okay? This, as a member, these are your benefits, is now you get more of these classes and you can ask me questions a little bit easier in these members chat classes. So go ahead and ask me a question about part 1. I'll be glad to answer. Absolutely. Yeah, try to keep it to speaking, so we'll have lots of chances to focus on other sections, but if a question comes to mind, don't be shy. We can move around a bit. Hi, Preeti. If you have a question, Preeti, fire away. Again, don't be shy. Yeah, Rekha, you can ask about part 1 as well. Okay, now's your chance. No, Rekha, it's not. Okay, you don't have to. I've had that question a few times. So your hometown doesn't have to be what's in your passport. I'm not sure if all passports even include. Oh yeah, your place of birth. Yeah, your hometown is not necessarily the same as your place of birth, Rekha. You could be born in a big hospital in a major city and then grow up in a rural area that's a 2-hour drive from that city. So there's no guarantee that your place of birth is your hometown. So absolutely not, Rekha. You do not have to talk about it. Rekha, the way you would say it is, although I was born in New Delhi Central Hospital, I actually grew up in a small town about 2-hour drive from the city, which is, and then talk about it. Yeah. Okay. Preeti, the time of this class is 13:30 Central European Time. Okay, so it's 13:30 Central European Time. See? 13:30, 14:30. We just did daylight savings, so that's why it moved an hour. But it's 13:30 to 14:30 for the members chat class and 15 to 16 o'clock for the everybody can chat class. Francesco, absolutely. Yes, it's a good idea to look at what you wrote down. That's why you have your notes. Okay, a lot of students, they write down notes and then they don't look at them. A lot of students read the questions on the card just once and then they don't look at them. Francesco, you want to use both. You want to use the card with the questions in the interview, not just at the beginning, but in the middle and at the end. And you want to use your notes throughout the interview. That's why. Yeah, so look down at your notes. Okay, so you're looking at, you know, okay, I'm looking at my notes. What happened? Oh, yeah, repainting, washing walls. So you start using that, and then you look up and you create a full sentence answer. So there were a lot of different types of cleaning that we had to do, including washing the walls, vacuuming, and then you keep going, okay? All right, members, as a homework exercise, answer this part 2 using these notes. So use these notes, give me a full 2-minute response, record it on your phone, send it to my email, okay? That's all the time we have for today's class, but fret not. Tomorrow we have another members chat class. At the same time, it will be writing task 2. So send your speaking part 2 responses to adrian@aehelp.com and I will give you a score estimate. Okay, so I'll tell you what you probably got. For everybody who's watching, join our YouTube channel to become a member so you can chat in these classes. You also get access to our 6 full practice exams and some other wonderful perks. To get everything that we have, which is IELTS, join us at aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com by clicking on those big red buttons that you see here on the home page. So click on that big red button there, or click on the big red button there or there after the video is finished playing. Okay, ladies and gents, see you in 30 minutes. So in 30 minutes, it will be an everybody chat class coming up in 30 minutes, so half an hour. So all of our viewers, thank you for staying tuned. You can join the chat in just 30 minutes. It will be reading strategy, okay? You're very welcome, Ava. You're very welcome, Kisi. Bye. See you soon.